Adobe Radio. The future of alternative.
The clock is ticking, nerds. The countdown to 420 is on with the Cool Nerd Weed Show. High on facts, low on stress, and nerding out till the holiest of holidays hits. It's the Cool Nerd Weed Show.
We all know that it's called the bionic, the bomb, the puff, the blow, the black, the herb, the sensei, the chronic, the sweet Mary Jane, ganja, split, reefer, the bad, the Buddha, the homegrown, the ill, the Maui Maui, the method, pop, lethal, turbo, tie, shake, skunk, stress, wacky, weed, blaze, the boot, dime bag, Scooby-Doo, Bob, bogey, backyard boogie.
It's the Cool Nerd Weed Show. That's Jess.
And that's Sasha.
And we are live on Adobe Radio tonight, live like we have been for so many years. We are in our favoriteest month, the month of 420, of course, and we are everywhere. Find us everywhere. We are Cool Nerd Weed Show. We will never not be Cool Nerd Weed Show. If we get banned from social media, maybe you will not be able to find us as Cool Nerd Weed Show. But we've been Cool Nerd Weed Show for almost a decade, and we will remain Cool Nerd Weed Show until we die, probably.
Till the wheels come off.
There's still, all these years later, always so much to talk about, always so much to touch on and to explain, and that's okay. That's why we do the show, is because we want to talk about stuff. We want to, I don't know, I say set the record straight, but that sounds whack as fuck. Like, we want to tell you, we want to explain things to you in a nice way. Like, we're not condescending or anything. Like, we want you to enjoy your cannabis experience. It's okay if you, I think that's a misconception too about like very big stoners like us. We don't have the patience or something. We're like, oh God, this lightweight, like, couldn't be farther from the truth. You don't have to keep up with us. First of all, please, I actually recommend you don't try to keep up with us. Please. And also, weed is very personal. It's a very personal thing. It's not like drinking where it's, you go shot for shot. You don't need to go hit for hit. Even if you're in the rotation, just say, nah, man, it's cool. I'll forget and I'll still try to pass it to you, but I'm not mad. Not mad at you.
Yeah, and you can stay in the circle.
Of course.
Just pass. Just keep passing it.
Just keep passing it.
And then eventually we're just passing it back and forth to each other. But it's totally fine. Stay in the circle. We want you there.
And you are safe with us. If you have the nerds, you're in good hands. Hopefully your sesh circle has nerds. Because we're there to help. And help you not get too high. And if you are too high, that's okay. It's gonna stop. You won't be high forever. Weed isn't that sort of controlled substance.
Yeah, you can't get locked in for hours and hours or eternity. I mean, it might feel like that, but we have some pointers to help you get through all of that business.
We do. We'll talk about vibes today. We're going to talk about 420 today. We're just going to be like classic nerd goodness today. The world is crazy. And one thing we've always said that will bring the world together is definitely weed. So we are going to continue with that trend. We'll start with trends, right? And science. That's why we do this show, is trends and science. Like, we're interested in like the anthropology. I don't know if that's the right word, but the anthropology of weed, like
I
not
think
the
that's
history.
correct.
The history is not what we mean. And we do have a history of cannabis. It's like a way early show. Oh my God. I was looking at all of our old shows. I was pulling, because I've been throwing like little classics in there for our rerun, which is at 5 a.m. Eastern. So on the other side of the world, that's like perfect time to listen to the nerds. And if you're lucky, you'll get to hear very young nerds, very, very young nerds in our educational episodes where we gave you the history of Canada. We talked about the Egyptians and shit. But this is not what I mean. I mean the change and I think actually on Adobe Radio socials at Adobe Radio, they posted a clip of us talking about hybrids, and that's kind of what I mean. Like, everything's a hybrid now, but it's not always how it used to be. You always hear your grandpappy say, the weed isn't the same as it was when I was a kid. And that's true.
Yeah, he's right. Grandpappy's right.
It was the style at the time.
Right now, I'm tying an onion to my belt, and I'm going to we're going to take you back to 1960, 1970.
The summer of love.
The early anthropology of cannabis. It started all over the world.
Okay.
Before we were calling them strains.
Right.
You know, Thailand had its cannabis, and Colombia and Mexico had its cannabis, and Afghanistan and the Middle East had their cannabis going on. And, that's what we call land races now. So that's just like the global cannabis. But,
right.
let's fast forward to like the 80s.
So you're wait, hold on, wait.
Okay, let's rewind.
So what you're saying is that in the 60s and the 50s and stuff, if you got weed from somewhere and they were like, oh, I got this from Thailand or, Colombia or wherever, that is likely to have been a land race, which means pure strain, one strain, only strain.
Yeah, it's probably something, absolutely. Something that they've been cultivating for generations in those parts of the world.
I see. Okay. And that was happening. Okay. That was happening from the 60s to the 70s. So, yeah. But these would get you really high, right? Still, it wasn't like it was like lightweight weed, right?
For the time, I mean, they say it was like possibly lower THC, but they were grown.
It was, like you said, it was a land race, so you would ask what country it was from. So where'd you get, I got a trip to Vietnam or whatever, which would probably be the trip that we all know about. Like your uncles always came back with weed. But yeah, that is what we mean by land race. So you'll hear land race here and there. If you're talking to somebody about like strains and being a nerd about it, it just means it's a singular and it comes from a region. So if you were smoking weed in the 60s and the 70s, that's usually it's usually how you talk about it, because it wasn't obviously as widely grown here and accepted as it is now. So now I feel like comfortable to fast forward.
That was very comprehensive.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Well, you did your part too.
Oh, around that time.
Back to the 80s. Forward to the 80s. Back to the future.
Where, at that time, people were traveling the old hippie highway around the world, bringing back seeds. They were saving seeds from their bags coming through, and people started to grow like in the Emerald Triangle up in Humboldt, just in the mountains. People were homesteading up there. There was not a lot going on, and they could grow their cannabis in relative peace and safety for a long time. They started the hybrid revolution started. Also, people were going to Amsterdam too. Like early High Times magazines always featured products and flowers that were coming from Holland. It was pretty crazy then. People started breeding those land races together for potency, faster growing cycles, some effects.
Yeah, and you'll see like things named kind of like effects based a little bit, like when you start getting hybridized. I feel like that's when names start to come in.
Yes.
And right now we're still also calling it sativa and indica. Well, we're always calling it sativa and indica, but I think at that point it starts to become energetic, jumpy, whatever you would consider when you think of sativa. That's what you think of, even though we know that that's not necessarily the case, as opposed to couch locked and low hazy. I feel like that's when we start to categorize things, right? Or no? Am I wrong?
When like we were starting to think about more of the effects and where.
Yeah.
I think that's around the time that people sort of generally we were thinking about cannabis more.
Right.
And with the breeding and the specifics of it all. So when the names came up, when the names started, like the legendary strains started to emerge, people were like associating them with like the Northern Lights. You always are like, that was like a very chill strain. And would
people
be
were just probably looking at the Northern Lights being like, wow, this is awesome. We should name this weed that. That's probably how it was named.
I think that origin story is 100% correct.
So cool. So you're getting kind of like a little bit of a curiosity at this point. It's being brought back more and more because it is everywhere. It's all over the world. And also I think it is worthy to note Amsterdam, because a lot of like reading and stuff. Yeah, we had your Emerald Triangle, which was so huge, but you also had stuff happening in Europe. That was
yeah, because of the freedoms in Holland, a lot of these early these early breeders went over there. Like a few of them, they kept getting busted over here, so they needed a safe haven where they could work. So like Hayes and the DNA genetics and all of these old school growers and breeders had to go someplace where it was safe, and that's where they developed a lot of the strains were coming from Amsterdam. It's like trying to order seeds back in the day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, yeah.
For novelty purposes. These are not for growing.
Right. Every like head shop that you'd go to always had like dusty ass seeds from from Amsterdam, but they'd work. So yeah, that's kind of where we are in the 80s and 90s. And also we're starting to think about how we'd, there's advocates starting to emerge because we're starting to understand that we can actually do some fun shit with the plant. So all the while, there's a bunch of other shit happening for weed that we always talk about. But specifically, the reaction to that is getting even like more science-y. And that's what happens throughout the 90s is breeding and you know, hybrids and understanding and medicine. And it is looked at it as a medicinal plant. I mean, back then, even. This isn't a new concept. Always, obviously. But I think there was like a curiosity to it in the 90s. I mean, stigma up the buns, but still a curiosity that was fun to see happen. And then Y2K happened and all the computers shut down and went to zero and the world ended. And the banks all closed and the nukes were triggered. I don't even know like what was supposed to happen on Y2K.
I was unable to email from my gateway computer.
Yeah.
See, that didn't happen.
No, everything was fine. Everything was like super normal. Like, I mean, I don't even remember anything happening. I don't. What a funny thing that we all just were like, yeah, oh no. But we all knew nothing was going to happen, but we were like, oh, what's going to happen? But what did happen in California is it really took over for this part of the world anyways. It really took over for like weed culture for sure, but also growing. Like this is when if you had a good traditional sales rep, you would know that they at least once every few trips would have something that they said was from California. You could always tell. It was a time for California weed and the OG, which did take completely over, I feel like, at this time.
Yeah, the OG Kush was dominating the 2000s. That post California medical push like really opened up people to the idea of growing cannabis. Like people were renting warehouses, there were big outdoor grows, there was greenhouses and light depths happening. With the cannabis collectives, the medical collectives, and it was a beautiful time. But yeah, OGs, everybody was breeding everything with OG, and that sour diesel too.
Well, sour diesel. So I feel like there was a real. See, we could have solved the East Coast West Coast wars. Sour diesel and OG Kush together forever. And sour diesel was a big. It was. I mean, obviously, it was my whole identity at that time. But we really were seeing some strong strains coming from this era, the 2000s. Like you said, it was medicinal. You had your dispensaries. People, again, we're still getting busted in these years, but. And like weed was a very, I mean, you know, you would get busted these years. It was worse than ever in the 2000s.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
The you know, specifically from Y2K to 2010 ish. It like I can think of off the top of my head like people that I know that were arrested just for having weed, a tiny little bit of weed in the car. So that we were no safer than we were before. But also, you know, rap culture really just made weed very in the mainstream, right? I mean, it was seen as part of it, but I feel like that's a big part of both coasts. And their part in this era of weed is you had rap artist charting. You had Dr. Dre with a full-on weed leaf calling his album The Chronic. So there was no escaping that weed was really playing a big part in culture. And then it just became popular culture just as like hip hop kind of melded into it. I feel like it was still fun to play with weed and see what you can do with that OG and that sour D, and did things they did. And I guess, wow. So we're in the year 2000 and we're making our way to 2010s, which is still
yes, we are
10 years ago.
We can't forget about the Granddaddy Purples and the Purple Urkels that were also peppered into that OG Sour Diesel era.
So that was the early 2000s that we got Granddaddy Purple. Honestly, I don't think I knew that. And Purple Urkel. I might have guessed that those came. No, I guess that makes sense. That makes sense. So purple strains during the early 2000s.
Yeah, they were much more exotic back then. You know, not everything was turning purple.
No, but you did see those High Times pictures, like
gorgeous purple buds.
Yeah, like,
and that was a Granddaddy or a Purple Urkel, generally.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Sorry, I forgot the purple ones.
Don't forget the perps.
So now we're in the 2010s.
Yes, we are.
Now we now cookies had started to creep up during the early 2000s, I feel like, and then cookies.
Oh yeah.
And again, I still associate cookies with the East Coast too. Myself. That's because that was the only thing I could smoke out here for a long time too. So that could just be a personal experience.
I mean, it's like it's it's part of the trends. It's part of the trends of where it's coming from, where it's going. Things are going to be different on the East Coast than West Coast.
Well, yeah.
That Girl Scout, when it hit the scene, I don't know if I was really truly a fan.
Oh, I loved it. By the time it got here, or wherever it came from here, I really, really liked it a lot. Now, I will say anything that's come out of it, I don't necessarily. All the crosses of Girl Scout cookies, I don't really fucks with. But I will fucks with a good old fashioned. You really can't get a really good old fashioned. I feel like Girl Scout cookies, if you ask me.
Yeah,
it's been a really long time since.
I don't know who's doing that true Girl Scout cookie anymore, but those dessert strains were, the sweet, creamy, a little bit of candy. Sometimes you get that little touch of that old school OG in there, like a gelato, a wedding cake.
Well, yeah, the dessert strains. I guess those ones when you can get like a little bit of a sweetness in there. That's when I really get down. Actually, I didn't love gelato. Everybody was obsessed with it. I was like, this is fine. But I do love all the cakes and pies.
Oh, the pie strains. The cherry pie.
You never even see that anymore.
No, you don't. Not really in LA. I don't think we've seen them in New York or New Jersey either.
No. I mean, the cookies has what's that one that I get, the flan, the Mexican flan.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. But going back to cookies, I guess this is kind of where you get your your hyphy. This is where we start to get. So when we say top shelf, right? Usually you're referring, everything was what it was when we were talking about 40 years ago in the 60s, but at this point. But now in the 2010s, we're seeing hype around strain drops and crosses, and brands are starting to emerge. Growers, basically, who just like got a marketing department and became brands. That's kind of what started happening in the tens.
Oh yeah, like glass jars, branded boxes, everything else, prepackaged pre-rolls, everything branded.
Pre-rolls, yeah. Pre-rolls, which is a crazy concept back then. Now, obviously not so much, but there was a point where things didn't come pre-rolled. But yeah, this starts to become, and still though, a lot of crossbreeding. Now though, I think the hybridizations are for more like monetary purposes in the way to like pinch pennies instead of like make money. I think you make a lot of one strain and then you cross it with another strain, and that's why everything is crossed with one thing for a really long time.
The total hyper hybridization of the cannabis plant to where they're making hybrids for like certain smell and aesthetics and just yield, so you get more from every plant.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the crossing isn't for creating strain reasons. It's for like how do we make the most money reasons, which who can blame them, Gotta get that back. But now we enter the 20s. And this is where, now we have room to figure out what the hell we're actually smoking after we've made all that money, and we're having actual chemists look at things and botanists and such, and we're figuring out what actually does make the plant make different strains distinguish from each other, is what I'm saying. We figured out that there was more to the plant than just its psychoactive effect, and we're trying to understand what is medicinal and how to really hone in on that. So we discovered terps. Well, nobody discovered anything. We put terps into the forefront of the conversation.
Yeah, everybody's talking terps now, and even the California, what is it, the state fair, the California State Fair, their cannabis judging with SC Labs is all based on the terpene profile, which is, we've come a long way with. So now we're focused on the terps. We're focused on not just THC, but we're focused on boosting the effects. And, I'd like to think that maybe the market will go back to craft and legacy growing, bringing back those old genetics, which I'm kind of seeing a little bit. Reinvigorating some of the, gotta add some of those old new genetics into the old. I don't know. What do you think it's going to make? I mean, we're talking, this is like what's happening starting 6 years ago-ish to now. Is it worth it? Is it worth it to bring some of the old strains back?
I don't know. The environment's different than it was when land races were being grown. We also have different technology that we can use I'm not against the best version of the strain that you're going for. I would like the intention to be there. So whether or not it's a Thai stick or an Afghan Kush, or it's, Thunderfuck Obama OG, I don't, at this point, give a care as much as I do care how you're crafting it. If you're putting terpenes in it, or if you're creating, not putting terpenes in it, if you're creating a strain that you wanted to alleviate pain, and you said, well, I'm going to put this terpene, I'm going to make sure this terpene and this terpene and this terpene shine through because of science, and that's how you grow weed, and all the fucking grows have like whiteboards everywhere, and you can figure this out. This could be figured out. We know this. So if you can kind of figure out that before you try to figure out what's going to make the most money because of hyphae reasons or high THC percentage reasons. That's a big reason, I think, why for a long time a lot of, especially big box weed companies, started to produce certain strains is because their THC percentage was 1,000,000%. And that's not necessarily the important thing. That's where the terps come in, because you can find the right terp profile and get a more satisfying high than a 38% THC. I would argue you don't need that. And all of a sudden with artificial light and anything, any sort of booster that changes and makes the THC percentage much, much, much higher like that, I just feel like there's the attention there is to sell your weed for that reason, not to have people feel effects that help them. I guess maybe that's what I feel is more worth. That's my opinion. You know what I'm saying? Am I making?
Yeah. So, you want the intentions brought back into cannabis breeding and not just the crazed like, oh, we got to cross this GMO with the monster cookies and then this alien because they're the highest THCs on the planet, and then you end up getting like some crazy THC percentage and there's like zero flavor in the terp
and
profile.
It just tastes like ass, and then you're too high and everybody's getting too high, and then you have a headache. It's just not. And especially, excuse me, as you can hear, I smoke a pretty decent amount of weed, so I know putting my lungs through some sort of test, and I got to be careful with what I choose to put in them. I don't want to put garbagios in my lungs. And while I know I can get clean weed mostly at a dispensary, hopefully, I don't know that it's best practice the way weed is grown and sold nowadays. So I don't even know if it's possible to get back there, but for your sake, because you want that, I hope it is. But I just want it to go back to learning, and because once you get to the terpene profiles, you're pretty much peak science. You pretty much broke the code and the mold of cannabis studies. I mean, we are talking in the 60s, it being so uncommon that it's relegated to country. Now it's so much more advanced and accepted and being studied for science that we should continue doing it for that sake, which hopefully that will get back. I don't know how that lies. This is not Weedstronomus Predicts. This is the 420 countdown show with science and trends. So we're going to, are you ready to take a break? Are you happy to take a break there? Yeah. Did we do a good Cannabis 101, the anthropology of cannabis?
We did. I think we did. We did a great job.
I think we did as well. We're going to take a quick break and then we'll come back and we're going to try to give you a vibey kind of playlist. We'll give you some songs, but just what you might want to hit, the notes you might want to hit on your 420. So we will be right back.
The clock is ticking, nerds. The countdown to 420 is on with the Cool Nerd Weed Show.
Yo, this is PC3.
Hi, it's Eric.
What's up? It's Zealand.
How you doing? This is Donald.
And we're The Paradox, and you're listening to The Cool Nerd Weed Show.
On Adobe Radio.
It's our best friends from The Paradox. And we're back.
We're back.
God damn it.
That's Sasha.
I tried to wait. We're going to be in person next week. So these silly little outtakes that have been happening will probably still happen. But actually we do quite well for being apart, but we've been apart for many weeks and days, and we'll finally be together, and I'll get my timing right. We'll be timed right. I'm going to play the countdown to 420 real quick. It is the holiest of holidays. 420. We are counting down to the day where we get to just celebrate the thing we love oh so much. And the vibe has to be right. Now, we talked all last show about how it's like pretty hard to ruin 420, but it could be done. It can be done. It can be rerouted, but there is definitely a world in which your 420 vibe is not right. And the one thing to make that better is always going to be the music. Always goes back to the music, especially on a day like 420.
Yeah, music can put you into the mood. It can bring you back into it if your 420 starts going sideways. A good playlist is essential on 420.
Yes. And this is how we would do it. You don't have to do it this way. And everybody's 420 is a different experience depending on where you are and who you are and how you're going to do it and all that stuff. But let's just say you are off that day. You don't have to work. And you are planning on spending the day. If this is you, you're planning on spending the day. Maybe you took the day off. Maybe you get PTO with your homies, your closest homies, going dispensary to dispensary. This is easily done in LA. Like, walk it. It's basically a route. If you're somewhere else, you probably have to. If you're in New York, you don't have to drive, so don't drive. Hi, please. But do this as responsibly as you can. Get a designated driver of some sort. You can do it that way very easily and hop dispensaries. And there you go. You have a place to play your playlist. Maybe you're going to the park all day or something. Bring your little speaker. Nobody cares on 420. Everybody lets you be who you want to be. So you get up, ready to go, but you know you have a long day ahead of you. So to start, for me, I kind of want to start a little lo-fi, kind of a little easy, a little maybe DIY indie, maybe like that sort of world where I'm doing a middle of the morning, afternoon sesh, getting ready, getting my 420 fit all ready, taking it easy, not rushing into anything because I have all day long. That's how I would start.
Like some lo-fi beats?
Maybe some lo-fi beats. Maybe some lo-fi like covers of songs or something.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, that's what I would do. Just to get a little bop going. I don't want to be full on dance yet. I want to go slow when I'm getting ready because I don't want anxiety when I start the day on 420.
420 is a marathon.
Yes, we've spoken on that before.
Yeah, you've got to ease into your day. And so what? Okay, so you're easing into your day. You've got your You got your chill music on. What's your first consumption method? You're going to imbibe first thing in the morning because
on 420?
Yeah, on 420. What's your
maybe my gravity bong or something? You know?
Oh wow! I mean, bong's a good choice. So you're
on
hardcore,
420.
so you're going gravity
Just 420.
bong on 420.
Yeah, because I want like a nice hearty breakfast.
Okay,
That way
I
I
love that.
can go all day. You know?
I'm gonna see you on 420, and
Yeah, so you better get fucking ready.
I
You
better
better
get
write this
fucking
down.
ready. Okay, gravity bongs noted.
That's
Low
why I
5
like
beat.
slow, you know what I mean? Slow and steady. And then that gets me to the afternoon, right? I probably hit my first dispensary by then. I hit the gravity bong already, maybe took an edible to get me through to my first dispensary. And once I stop there, I'm pretty much off to the races. So if I'm alone or if I'm with homies, I'm probably going to start to pick up the pace just a tiny bit. I'm probably going to start to vibe, right? Like have a little pep in my step, a little, I don't know. That fucking Tame Impala song is in my head, the Dracula. It's a trend now, but that song is a really good, Tame Impala in general is a good first step up to pep, you know?
Yeah, we put Tame
For
on
sure.
all the time in the shop.
I mean,
it's a go-to.
Tame Impala is just, you can't go wrong ever. So if you want to start your playlist for the afternoon on 420, because you can do that with like Apple or something. But if you want to start it with Tame Impala and then build a radio station off of that, totally recommend. Even the Gorillas, also not far from. But yes, I would say easily that would be the vibe. Now, after that first dispensary and I got Tame Impala on, I'm for sure going to smoke a joint. Like, it's been long enough now. So, so we're in the afternoon phase, smoking a joint, Tame Impala.
Yeah, you probably waited in line at your favorite dispensary trying to get that gift bag.
Mm-hmm.
And you're gonna need something into the afternoon to let's see. You're gonna need to pick it up because after you left that this dispensary, it's time for the first official sesh of the day.
You're going to try to get to like wherever you are going to congregate for your sessions that day. So maybe it's a park, maybe it's a slab, maybe it's by the lake or in the big Union Square of the new city of York. Wherever you go, you were going to start that sesh with this, with that sort of, okay, that sort of playlist of moving right along. We're not completely cartwheeling, but we are feeling a little groovy. Now we're getting into the later on afternoon. So this is kind of where you take your next edible, right? Maybe around 3, 4 o'clock. And that's when you feel like you're in a movie or something. So I feel like something good movie soundtracky. Oh, you know what would be good at this time? I feel like something like The Paradox would be good. Or honestly, anything pop punk emo, anything that you feel like you're going to be in a montage in.
Okay.
You know, and then I'd start to be like, okay, we got to start to pick this up. I'd take another edible or two. We had just smoked a joint, so I'm pretty good on the smoke. We're on to our next destination, probably. This is where I'm starting to feel like this is memories to last a lifetime. So to me, my mind just always goes to pop punk when I'm thinking of those things. So I would do something like The Paradox. Now we're all singing. Now we're all high and singing and laughing, and somebody got the words wrong or something, and we are like, and everything's funny and everybody's supportive. That's the point that we're at now. This is about mid to late afternoon. Now we're going to go into the evening. So we have hit probably our second or third dispensary. We're about 2 or 3 edibles in. Here's where maybe we smoke a blunt.
It's blunt time.
This is evening pre-dinner, right? So we're at the next spot. Maybe it's a homie's house. Maybe it's another park. But this is where things start to soak in. So I don't want to go like full emotional. I'm still thinking we need... Honestly, I would do some hip hop right now. I'm not gonna lie.
I mean, it's hip hop.
I would want some rap music at this point
is
in the day.
An essential part of the 420 playlist.
Of course it is. And this is the peak time. This is the last thing you're probably going to remember.
So
especially because you're smoking a blunt.
So for, one song that always comes on 420, like you're going to hear this so many times, is I Got 5 on It.
Yeah, the Jordan Peele song. You will hear that. You will hear I Got 5 on It a lot. You will hear some West Coast rap music during that playlist for sure, as you should. That's the perfect vibe for right then, because it's going to keep you going. You're going to feel those beats and those moments. Somebody probably knows all the words in your group to one, if not all of those songs. And I would like to throw in some Public Enemy as well.
Oh, yes.
Because that's the shit that gets you to dinner. Is some Public Enemy. First record. That's the shit that you were like, okay, now it's time to plan our meals. Now, hopefully you're close to something that you can just continue on. What were you going to say?
The Public Enemy, it's very East Coast vibe, and I love it. So where are we going to? Which diner are we going to after we listen to some Public Enemy in the park? After smoking that blunt, I love this. I love this journey.
Well, I guess probably the first one we could find, because it's going to be around 7 p.m. when we get to our food place. Now, really, you can go to the closest diner around, but I do recommend a diner on 420 all the way. And we're going to have to end our day soon because we only have one more minute. But this is around when we'd end our day anyway. So now we get to our diner, whatever that version is for you, where all of this, of course, we've been taking edibles now, like regular. We're just trying to be super, super toasty. So take a break from music, eat some food, drink some water, take a break from weed, eat some food, drink some water, have that last as long as it needs to be. And now at the end of that, you are full, you are toasted, buns, and kind of ready for the day to be over. Oh, you know what I've been really enjoying? Some
What's
fucking 90s R&B. Or some even some Janet Jackson, you know what I mean? Just like that, I don't know. There was just such a, no, not necessarily. Well, maybe, yeah. I mean, maybe Rhythm Nation. Just kind of, I don't know, what got me on my kick. I don't know. Something picked up something that I was listening to. I don't even know what it could have been, but I don't know. There was just a vibe about. I'm trying to think of a really good one. I'm trying to think of a really good one that you won't be able to argue with me about.
We're smoking and we're closing out with 90s R&B.
Yeah, so you're not down with 90s R&B. Well, what would you play? You come up with something better. I feel like I've carried this whole entire playlist here, and now you're questioning my choices.
You have, and here we go. Here's my closeout song. Is Black Sabbath, Sweet Leaf.
That's your closeout song?
I've been going in another direction.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah. No, I'm familiar. Thank you. I feel like that would be what I would wake up with, honestly. I do. I feel like I would do that and then go into my lo-fi. Because that's like your alarm on 420 for me. But you want to close out with it. I feel you. I get it. No, I'm ready for I don't know, I'm ready for some TLC or something. I am. I don't know why. I don't know why. This year, I just want to be serenaded. But I do feel like Ozzy can be in the mix there. And Ozzy was in the mix. Always. I feel like we don't have, I think that's what makes the sesh, especially at the end of 420, so special, is you can play My Boo next to some 80s metal. And what ends and caps the day for me is different than what ends and caps the day for you. But what we're both going to be doing is we will be ending the night with a dab. And that that I just want to melt. And for me a little brandy makes me melt. I'm not using good examples for you particularly. Aaliyah fan, anybody?
Aaliyah and some dab.
Oh, yes. Come on. You can't tell me that doesn't sound amazing. Don't you dare. Don't you lie to yourself.
It sounds awesome.
Yeah, I think
like every high school
also
dance
Ozzy. Yes,
do.
please. You're and honestly, you can play that track at any point in the day if you want to. That's a good return to track. That's a good wraparound track. That Ozzy song for sure. So I think we're all on the same page here. And then sleep awaits, and another 420s in the books. We don't have time for a huff and puff, so that's okay, because I think we've really explored everything and touched on all the vibes. So you can take that advice if you want to. You don't have to. You can do it. Start up, like, just jump out of bed listening to the craziest, most high octane shit, and then end your day with the same shit. You can listen to the same shit all day. Whatever you need to do to keep that vibe. I know I said vibe so much this show, but that's what 420 is at its heart. It's catching a fucking vibe, and it's no worries, no anything around us, just really, really positive forward motion, hanging out with those that you love who share your interests. We will be doing that next week at live at Adobe Radio Studios together. We will have homies there, the best of friends, the people who were there with us from the very beginning, our first 420. We are so grateful to spend it with you. And
fuck ICE, fuck Donald Trump. We love all of you, and don't panic.
It's organic.
Give it up for Adobe, everybody.